been away from performing for 12 whole years, and honestly, I really did believe that that chapter of my life was closed for good. But one day I decided to challenge myself to see if I was still capable of even doing it. Now, if you're someone who has been away from their passion or their hobby for over a decade and you think it's too late to start, here's 5 things that I learned about myself during this process that I kind of wish someone had shared with me before I step back on stage. Lesson 1. Muscle memory is a magical thing, and I actually couldn't believe how much it came into play as soon as I started focusing on creating a whole new routine for myself. Honestly, it was game changing because I was like, wow, I still remember how to do so much without even thinking. But what does happen 12 years on is that you need a longer warm up. Recovery time is definitely longer as well. And there's things that I used to do in my old dance routines when I was performing originally that I just would not attempt now, 12 years on. However, I feel the sooner you get to grips with this, the easier it is to just move forward and enjoy the process, because honestly, I feel my routine this time round compared to my routine in my 20s is far better. And I'm not just saying that because obviously I want to make myself feel better. I feel like I have so much more structure now in my 30s with my dance routine than I did in my 20s, trying to get all of the tricks in and do all of the impressive moves, because I was relying on those. Whereas now in my 30s, I'm like, hey, I'm going to do these moves, which are slightly less impressive to the dance peers, but the audience will still appreciate them and enjoy it all the same. Lesson 2. Perfectionism is my biggest flaw. Honestly, I'm not even kidding. It has held me back so much throughout my career. And you might be sitting there too going, Candy, yes, same. It's so annoying. How do you overcome it? I'm still learning myself, but perfectionism was a hurdle that I wasn't going to let stop me enjoy this process. And every day when I was in that studio, I just had to say to myself, we're going to be a little bit better than we was yesterday. Sounds cringe, I get it, but I just kept saying to myself, all we need to do is be better than yesterday by a little bit. I'm only in competition with myself. I can only do the best that I can do. I can't do any more. So I tried to not overanalyze and just have fun. If a movement felt good, I kept it. Did I care if it was super impressive? No. If it felt good and I felt it looked good on my body, that was the move I went with, because perfectionism would have told me to go and learn a ton of super complicated dance moves to add into this routine, to make myself the best that I could be. And it kind of sounds like I'm saying I didn't try. That's not true. I allowed myself to just enjoy the process and create a routine that I felt looked good on my body, worked for my body, and also felt good to do, rather than, like I said, worrying about what's the most perfect move. How can I refine this move to make it the most sharp and intentful move going? And I feel that comes with age too. I rewired my brain to allow myself to enjoy this process rather than thinking about how do I make this the most perfect, accurate thing I can do. Lesson 3. I'm not the same person I was 12 years ago either, and I'm sure you're not too. And I just thought to myself, why would I try and replicate an old version of myself when the new version of me is so much wiser, so much more confident, has so much more knowledge that I can apply to my routine and embrace it and grow. And one thing I did do and did notice 12 years on is that my knowledge and understanding of what the audience wants is so much better now. I used to choreograph every last millisecond of the music. I'm not even kidding. Like every last little microsecond in that music, there would be something going on. But now, as wisdom, I'm going to call it wisdom, has joined me, I realise the audience doesn't want that. And the audience doesn't really know what that entails to choreograph every tiny little thing. The audience wants moments. They want to experience and hold a moment, a space in time with you when you're performing. And in my 20s, I couldn't see that. Mainly because I'd just come out of performance like college, and I was taught that everything has to be spot on, you know, where perfectionism probably developed, not gonna lie. And everything needs to have a moment in the music. You can't just stand around doing nothing. Whereas in burlesque performing, actually, the art is kind of in standing around in a well thought out way. It's getting that audience to engage with you, even in stillness. And this is something I could bring to the table 12 years on, because I understand now. Like I said, in my 20s when I was performing burlesque, I was like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to dance every minute of my routine because no one else is doing that. That's great. But there's probably a reason no one else is doing that. And I feel like if I'd continued to perform that way, I probably would be on the rubbish heap by now because my body would be absolutely battered. I used to like do jump splits and stuff. Like, do not recommend repeatedly doing things like that. So I feel like being away from stage has just literally been like, okay, this can ruminate in me and I can apply these new ways of learning and thinking, which I couldn't do when I was younger. So again, hindsight, so they say, is a beautiful thing. And I feel like if you're someone who has been away from your passion for a decade or more too, you'll be surprised what you could apply now with the knowledge you have from everyday life that would change your outcome with that hobby again. And I guarantee you'd be shocked at how much it actually does change things. Lesson 4. Oh my God. Nothing, and I mean nothing, beats a live audience. I forgot what a buzz and a rush that feeling is to get real life, audible feedback. It's okay practicing in front of the mirror, assuming what kind of reactions and responses you're going to get from your audience, especially when you're playing around with them pause moments where you're like, you know, doing your slow glove reveals and stuff. And you're like, okay, the audience are hopefully going to be cheering in this part, or like when you're pretending to take off your corset and like teasing, like flashing, you know, some skin with it and then put it back on, whatever. You can kind of think what they might respond like, but when it actually happens in real life, oh my God, like there is no other feeling than getting that real life response, and it's always better than you can ever imagine it. And honestly, I think it just amplifies everything and it makes you push your routine harder. So obviously I did dress rehearsals and stuff for my performance. Not everyone does, that's just my personal preference. And even though I was telling myself, okay, full out with feeling, I'm going to do this full out with feeling so I can kind of get used to what it's going to feel like when I'm on that stage in that moment, nothing prepares you for in that moment, because like I said, you cannot control how the audience is going to respond to you. If they hate it, trust me, they'll let you know if they hate it. And if they love it, trust me, they'll let you know that they love it. And I'd forgotten how exhilarating and exciting that feeling is. Like, it is a feeling like no other, like I was saying, and you just can't prepare yourself for being on stage and for just soaking in that atmosphere. And that's why I wanted to give my audience those moments, so me and them could share a moment together, that slowing down, that pausing, that not choreographing every minute of my routine, having those moments where I could engage with the audience and get their feedback loop of what they felt and how they felt my routine was going was just fantastic. And again, something I didn't understand in my 20s. I just took it all for granted. I was on and off the stage all the time when I was training. So stage was just like, yeah, stage, innit? Like, I didn't take it all in properly. I took that audience audible excitement for granted because I always thought it was going to be in my life until obviously it wasn't. And then feeling it again, I was like, this is just fantastic. Lesson 5. Nerves. You would think maybe they'd go away the older you get, but safe to say they don't. I'm someone who suffers with anxiety anyway, so nerves on stage are just like amplified. But what I now know is that nerves are excitement in disguise. And I had that minute backstage where I was like, I don't know my routine. Oh my God, I don't remember it. What am I doing? I nearly, very nearly, went on stage without even wearing a skirt because my mind was so like, oh my God, we're doing this. We haven't done this in 12 years. Like, what are we thinking? Like, you don't know your routine. Nearly forgot to put my skirt on, so I nearly was on stage without my skirt, which is like a whole chunk of my routine. Don't ask what I would have done if I had actually forgot my skirt, but you know, show must go on. I'd just make it up on the spot because that's something. This is kind of a bonus thing that I'm going to merge in with this now, thinking about it, because the audience don't know your routine. And when you're a solo performer, guess what? You're performing solo. So you just have to carry on and no one's going to know. As long as you do it with conviction, you know, they're not going to know your mistakes. Only you know how your routine's meant to look like and meant to be. And everyone else in that audience is just there for a good time. So as long as you do it with a smile on your face and you're entertaining as you go wrong, that's all you need to do, because everyone else is going to be like, yeah, that was great. Keep it up. Amazing. And you're inside going, oh my God, I've just missed like 2 counts of 8 and I've missed this and I've missed that. But you just do it with a smile on your face and everything's fine. Honestly, everything is fine. But yeah, just like nerves. Nerves are fine to have and very, very normal. And sadly, I can confirm they do not disappear with age. They just seemingly probably make more sense now than when they did when you're younger. Because like I said, you're just like, oh, I'm just going to use this as a little bit of fuel, you know. Butterflies in my tummy means that I'm excited for this and it means that I'm doing the right thing. So I'm just going to go on stage and use this as a little bit of adrenaline rush to hype up my routine a bit more. Well, that's what I tried to do anyway. Final thoughts. If you're someone who has a project or a passion or has been away from performing for so long too, and you've been putting it off because you think it's too late, take this as your sign that it's not. I promise you, you are not too late. However, the longer you leave it, the later it gets. So just start today. Maybe if you're brave enough, you'll even share the thing that you've been putting off with me in the comments below, and we can have a discussion and hype each other up. I feel like life is too short to not do the things that we love. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you're someone who would love to see me continue dancing and performing in future, may I recommend checking out my Patreon, because this is a fantastic way to support this new old journey of mine.